There's literally no issue that's not going to be improved with education, sex included. So I agree with you completely. Like if they found ways to give us the ability to talk more openly about these things and to express ourselves and be aware of that sex is a natural thing. It's a biological thing. We're all just people and trying to make connections. One of my fears is that we're going to go through this segment without Joey giving us a big old shout out and letting the people know what they need to do.
First of all, if you haven't liked, subscribed, hit the ring-a-ling of the ding-a-lings, then you're absolutely doing yourself a disservice. We release weekly 4 videos. At the end of the week, you're going to get your nice long video, girthy,
Uncut.
some would like to say, uncut, uncircumcised, just a full length. If that's what you like. I prefer to watch bite size. I like the little 25-minute, 30 minutes. I like that. Another round of shout outs. Shout out to Nita, first of all. She came up with this idea for asking the audience questions, and I want to give her props. She deserves it. Shout out to you, Nita. Shout out to everyone else that's been watching and's been supporting Crystal's. I'm sure we got some people from Crystal's audience here now. Welcome to the fuck fest that is the One Up podcast. It's fucking hot and ready videos coming to you. You can find us on anywhere that you listen to podcast streamings, if that's your thing. You want to listen to us, if you want to hear my sensual, sexy voice, there's ways to do that. And I thank you guys. We wanted to start branching off and doing different things. We have a quick question. If you guys are still hanging in there with us, what kind of, and I'm just going to branch this out, what type of content would you like us to be pushing out? Would you like us to take a little, gaming route where maybe 2 or 3 of us play a video game? Maybe we do a co-op. Maybe it's Resident Evil 5. Maybe. Maybe it's World War Z. What do you want me to? You want me to go the other way, Pucho? How about that? How about we just start talking about Dead Space 3?
It will never be World War Z.
Yeah. Okay. Anyways, we'd like to ask the audience, what kind of games would you like us to play? I think Overcooked would be good. I think, some party games could be good on there. You don't know about Jack? I think those would be good too.
This is for them. You're answering the question. We're new to this, all right, people? We want to know. Tell us. What co-op games do you want us to play? Or multiplayer games or whatever the fucking game you want to watch us play and talk shit about.
Battlefield 5.
We're exploring the possibility. I don't know how often we would make gaming content, but if y'all were interested, we'd love to hear what y'all would be interested in seeing.
Album reviews. If you guys have listening to some hippity hop, we could do that too. We could do more album reviews. We just want to please our audience members. And if you guys have an idea, never be afraid to toss it down there in the chats over by my rather large penis.
Damn.
Jesus Christ. I like the confidence though.
Yeah. Some people admire that confidence. Good for you. Good for him. Hey, so Pucha brought up condoms and condoms breaking and that whole fear. We all are products of the public education system, for better and worse.
Yes.
I don't think any of us are private school boys on this podcast. I don't think that's our brand. Our brand is also definitely not whatever thing Doey was talking about in that last segment.
With the cock rings.
But
what the fuck is wrong with this guy?
What my sex education from school was pretty terrible. It was very abstinence based, and they told us about all the terrible diseases you would get. What do y'all wish that you had been taught in sex ed? What do you think?
Not to buy unlubricated condoms.
That's a
because
fact.
that
Good
was
condoms.
not good.
That is.
I didn't even know there was a difference.
Why do they make those? I still don't. I'm a 35-year-old man. I have no idea why they make the unlubricated condoms.
I mean, maybe if your partner is gets overly wet, maybe fruit gushers in the building. You know what I mean? It's I don't know.
Maybe there's special like lube requirements or something that your partner has. Maybe that's the reason for these.
That's also, maybe you're gonna use lube afterwards. That would actually be a good reason.
These could be things. This requires some research. I've never looked into unlubricated condoms, so I don't have this knowledge ready to go.
Speaking of lube, all they ever taught me was don't fuck STDs, don't fuck. Oh, if you suck some cock, look at all this shit you're gonna get over here. Oh, you wanna lick some pussy? Oh, look at this, she got eye herpes. You're gonna get eye herpes. And I'm like, well, what the fuck? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it was never. I know that this sounds wildly inappropriate, but how about teaching me some actual fucking skills? Hey, this is missionary. Hey, this is how you're going to be. Oh, this is the position of doggy style. You know what I mean?
This is school. This is not the fucking Kama Sutra.
How about, listen, I need to know how to fuck. All right? Because when I was a 14-year-old fucking stud and I was out there in those streets, like just ready and willing, I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I was like, whoa, it's like I got handed keys to a car and I didn't even know about the fucking driving. I was like, whoa, what is this? Like, I
did not think the answer on this was gonna be, I wish they had taught me how to fuck.
Why not? Why not? Why not? Show me how to put that fucking condom on. Hells yeah.
My school never did the banana thing. Did y'all actually do the banana condom thing? I always saw that in movies to speak to the last topic.
That shit is important.
It feels like it should be, right?
I didn't even know how to put a condom on properly.
Dude, the first time I ever put a condom on, it was a mess. I probably went through like 3 or 4 condoms trying to figure out how to get that thing on.
I didn't hold the tip. You're supposed to hold the tip, and because there was always a big bubble of air at the top of my cock. And I'm like, what is up with this? You got to hold the tip while you're unrolling the shaft. And that's how you get the non-bubble. I had like an airhead cock. It was just terrible.
I've never held the tip, and I've never dealt with like the fucking bayonet at the front of my fucking condom cock. Oh God, that's interesting.
It sucked, is what it was. It's fucking terrible.
Yeah, I definitely think how to put a condom on. Being taught that would have been cool. I don't know, just talking about like.
Yo, niggas could have gave us a warning like, hey, you could be easy on the clit. Niggas want to be like,
who is this poor football coach that you're picturing in your sex ed class that has to go through this material?
Yo, if they could have told me to be like, yo, control yourself. It's not, you just take it easy, all right? Because I was trying to vigorously eat pussy, and that's maybe not the best way to eat pussy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you know, like, we know that you want to do it. Just maybe like hold back a little bit and just, you know, maybe, I don't know. What do I need, a fuck coach? What is that? What's the next level of sexual education where people...
There are actually sex therapists and sex teachers and things like that. Like, that is 100% a thing that exists.
Don't want one of those sex gurus to go to the fucking...
No, because this goes hand in hand with consent. Why aren't they teaching children about consent and like, hey, when you're having sex, if the person says no, like, why the fuck aren't we having these conversations with our children?
Consent was going to be mine. That was the one thing I wish that they really covered in sex ed, because I think that there's a lack of messaging, especially to young men, about just exactly all the things that you can do that they're not taking consent into consideration. Like there was we're not going to get too much into this, but there was that thing on Twitter about stealthing, and like people were debating whether that was actually like a violation or not. And I don't even understand the worldview where that's not some kind of violation to take off a condom mid-sex. You can't just change the terms without a discussion. Like that's not the way it works.
Yeah.
So tangentially related to this is what I was going to mention is like, it'd be nice. It wouldn't be something you could necessarily teach in a class, but as I would hope that if it was encouraged, it might change some minds. But like the fact that sex is so taboo still, people, we feel uncomfortable discussing like right now we're talking in a lot of generalities, right? But if it came down to it, and you like, you know, there's going to be some discomfort when you start talking specifics about what sexual acts you want to do with a person or anything like that. Like, I don't know, there's some part of you that wants it to just happen organically, but when things happen organically is when weird stuff happens. Like maybe you don't necessarily discuss that we have to use a condom. Mm-hmm. So if I had it on and I took it off mid-sex, I didn't think that I was stealthing you. But because that conversation didn't happen explicitly, it's like now one party is sexually assaulted and the other party is having a good time. You know what I mean? It's kind of like a fuck situation. And if we could normalize just talking about like our expectations, talking about what we want in a given situation, I'd hope that A, there'd be less bullshit that happens, but B, like people have a better time. Like how many times have you been having sex and then you just decided, yo, you know what? Like, let me put it in your ass. Like mid-sex. And it's like, wouldn't it have been cool if we could discuss this beforehand? Like, would there be no surprise? Like, it's like, I don't want anything near my ass, all right? And then you just pouncing on me with that mid-fuck. It's like, yeah, maybe someone agrees to something they don't really want to do. And you know what I mean? It's like shit like that. I don't know. I don't think it's something you could teach in just like one sex ed class, but it'd be nice if like that you had some adults in your life that were encouraging you to be open and honest about what you want out of something. I mean, even the fact that like women enjoy sex, like that's something like I found like a lot of women feel like sex is like for men, and it, you know, maybe that a lot of that is cultural, a lot of that is Hollywood, but it's like we don't really have anybody telling us otherwise. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I don't know.
There's a lot of that. It's the stereotype of like the I've got a headache, because obviously women don't enjoy sex, so any excuse they can make to like not have sex is like a thing, and like pop culture is filled with that, and it's wild because women love sex. Women masturbate just as much as men. It's 100% a thing. I was probably way older than I should have been when I realized that exact thing. There's literally no issue that's not going to be improved with education, sex included. So I agree with you completely. Like if they found ways to give us the ability to talk more openly about these things and to express ourselves and be aware of that sex is a natural thing. It's a biological thing. We're all just people and trying to make connections kind of thing.
So one thing, not to get all Kama Sutra over here like Doey, is that Kuma's, I don't even know what the fuck the thing is, but
I think it's the Kama Sutra.
Kama Sutra. It's a shame that the only reason I learned that you have to lick it before you stick it is because I watched Booty Call, okay? Garbage tier movie. Hilarious. Jamie Foxx is in it. It's fantastic. And yeah, the fucking the Indian convenience store clerk is like telling me you gotta lick it before you stick. Like, and it's like, huh. And it'd be nice if, you know, if somebody taught you that. Like, and not to be all Kama Sutra like though, but like just to explain, like, yo, look, you can't just whip the dick out and just shove it in. Like, there'll be trauma. Like, they'll be bad they'll be bad in the club. Mm-hmm. Like, that'll be like shooting a bazooka in the club. Like, you want to walk in and enjoy your time there. You know what I'm saying? You want to enjoy your stay.
Mm-hmm.
And you gotta ease the situation in. There's some foreplay.
You gotta shake hands with the bouncer. You gotta order a couple drinks.
Gotta pinch the nipples, squeeze and twist. There's
Not too
different
hard.
techniques. There's different moves to do. You grab the breast, you honk them.
Yeah, the honking's the best move. No.
Honk, honk, honk.
No, but right, just to, again, teach people like we have bodily functions, and like in order to do these things that people are trying to do, just an explanation of how to facilitate these things safely for all parties involved, because it really felt like those things didn't happen. It felt like the full intent of sex ed was to teach you about all the terrible shit that happes if you have sex, to kind of encourage you to just don't have sex. Mm-hmm. Instead of teaching you like, what are the safe ways to have sex? What is bad sex? Like it's like buying those red Trojans that come unlubricated. It's fucking a car tire.
What has made bad sex for y'all? Because I think that's kind of related to this. Because for me, it's absolutely been like lack of communication. Like my worst sex has always just been like lack of communication. My partner's not telling me what they want. I'm not saying what I want because they're obviously not telling me what they want. It's this like circular situation that just makes for bad sex. It's just like, oh, I could have played a video game instead of doing that. I would have enjoyed myself more.
Yeah, I guess for me is I always felt like a sex thing was when I was interested in having sex, and I realized when you're in a relationship, sometimes your partner's gonna want to have sex and you're not really ready to have sex right now. So, I mean, you want to accommodate your partner. You want to make sure your partner is getting satisfied. So sometimes you got to take one for the team and, just perform. But I not saying like to have sex if you don't want to have sex, but I know that you don't want to let people down. You know what I mean? You kind of don't want to let people down, and you don't want them to feel like shit. But for me, that's one thing that I learned. That sometimes my sexual appetite wasn't around the times that my partner's sexual appetite was open.
I don't know that I would fully agree with that advice. I would say that's something you should communicate, though. Like if you're maybe not completely in the mood, be like, hey, I'm not feeling it, but let's figure out what we can do that's gonna not disappoint both of us,
No, I completely understand. Like for me, I'm a morning person. I have a high sexual drive in the morning, not so much late at night.
Huh.
And sometimes they want to wake me up to sexual play. The last thing I want to do when I'm sleeping is wake up to some sexual play. Just leave me alone and let me sleep. You know what I mean? So,
there's another thing right there. Setting boundaries, man. That's a thing that should be discussed in sex ed, because that's a boundary for you, and that's something that you should communicate in future relationships or your current situation. Like that should be a thing that's known, because honestly, someone waking you up with sex, that's a sexual assault in a lot of ways. If you're not consenting to it and you're woken up with sex, that's 100% a sexual assault.
Yeah.
I mean, there's levels to that too.
There are levels to it. I was waiting for you to chime in.
Because I don't know. I feel like the language. I feel like we don't have enough language to separate like the truly vile acts from the medium vile, then to like the didn't really mean to cause harm, but I guess I'm an inconsiderate. Like there's so many levels to all this stuff. I don't know. It feels like we need more words, but like.
I think if we had more open communication with our sexuality, there would be less of the situations. You would have that conversation with your partner where it's like, hey, I am not a morning sex person. Please don't wake me up with sex. That's not what I'm into. Or giving your full consent and be like, you wake me up with doing whatever you want, anytime you want. Yeah. I'm always 100% down. If I'm not, I will let you know after being woken up.
But like, right. So I guess to the scenario that you're saying though, like the reason I say there's levels is like I'm married, and I've been with the same person for over 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm woken up with sex, this is just, we're doing business. This is just part of the game, right? Like, it's just happening. But like, if you're having like a one night stand with somebody and y'all done having sex and y'all think, all right, we're just gonna go to sleep now, and then you just wake up getting fucked or something, it's like, whoa, there's a bigger degree of
malintent,
how inconsiderate you might have been in that situation, where like even the same act without all the relationship and all the knowing somebody, the act could be way worse just by like, you know, not knowing someone enough, and maybe you not being thoughtful enough to even try to communicate or something like that. It's like, yeah, that does make you shittier. Like,
yeah. And like you mentioned, like obviously the dynamics shift in a long-term relationship. Like there's a lot more that is, I don't know. I'm not going to smack a random woman or person on the ass that I don't know. That's some level of sexual misconduct, right? To just smack a stranger in the ass. Your wife, your girlfriend, your partner, you could, it can be a little bit different. Now, if they tell you no, if they tell you no, if they tell you no forcefully and they're like, no, I don't like that ever, then you know, okay, there's a boundary. The boundary's been set. Some people are good about having those conversations before the thing even comes up. They'll mention like, hey, I don't like X, Y, and Z. These are things that are non-negotiable. This is my boundary. Some people are good about that. Some people aren't. And it's a lot of adjusting to the moment and taking people at their word. Someone tells you they don't want something. They don't want something. Boom, done.
I also think that if you have a hard time talking to somebody about how you feel, like, you have to work on that, like, because sex is so taboo for Americans for some reason, and because it's so awkward, setting boundaries sexually, being able to say no, like, that's not cool, is very important. And I know it's scary when you're having one night stands, but you gotta be able to verbalize it. You gotta be able to talk to your partner. If that's a problem for you, you have to like reconsider what kind of sex you want to be having. Have sex that you can, if you're foreplay and you're able to say no during foreplay, then foreplay is where it ends. You know what I mean? But be responsible. As the man, I like to do a little checkup every once in a while. Like, are you good? We all right? We're good here. Just a little checkup, you know, while we're having sex. That always helps to. If you don't get anything back, usually that means that there's something wrong, and you have to stop and be like, "Yo, are we good?" You know what I mean? Or just check in. Some people say that might break the experience, but I don't think it does. I think it's super important to know if your loved one is enjoying it.
I think that statement tends to be a cop out for a lot of things. Like, I've heard guys claim like, "Oh, I don't put on a condom during sex, even if it's a one night stand, because I feel like it breaks the the mood," and that's bullshit. Like, put that condom on. Wrap up. It's a shitty excuse. It's a terrible excuse.
I was gonna say the check-ins are crucial.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah,
the sound, especially if you don't know a person that well, the sound between pleasure and pain, hearing it doesn't sound that different.
It could be very similar.
Like, so it's like something could be hurting someone, and again, because we're so uncomfortable about telling people no or telling people how we feel in the moment, you could be hurting someone for, and I'm not even saying like a sexual assault, nothing crazy. I'm just saying, like, maybe they're just not that wet and you're just ramming them and it just doesn't feel that great for them. Like, doing the little check-in, like, yo, you good? And it might allow them to be able to be like, actually, we need some lube, or maybe we should do a different position,
or maybe I just want to go back to making out for a little while. Let's just take a step back.
Man, I'd be pissed. You're just you're ramming, and they're like, yo, let's just go back to making out. You're like, nah, if I'm getting out of here, this sucks.
I've been there. It is, it's not great, but you got to respect the other person's wishes. Like you can.
No, for sure. I'm sorry. I'm not. The implication of me is insane.
It didn't come across as like that you're gonna like go punch the drywall or something.
Yeah, that's the cock. That wasn't punches. Okay.
That would be a terrible move. You get so pissed off, you boom, punch a wall. That's where you're asked to leave.
That's when people get so afraid they can't say no to you, and then you're fucking taking advantage of it.
You're muted, bud.
Even as a man, there's been times that maybe I didn't want to have sex, and maybe I should have verbalized it better. And you know what I mean? Because in most of my relationships are very comfortable, very openly sexual with all my partners.
You're a pleaser too, man. Like you like your partner, you like your friends to be happy, and you'll take a little bit of an injury. You'll do something you don't necessarily want to do to make someone happy. Yeah. That can lead to, guys can get raped too. Guys can get sexually assaulted too. Like that is a thing. That's a thing that's not talked enough about in sex ed too.
Because we're always supposed to want it. Yeah. Oh, how could you not have wanted to have sex?
It's something we've already discussed, but like
the teacher thing.
It's the teacher thing, right? Like the teacher goes and has sex with all the boys are like, oh, I wish the teacher would come at me, blah blah. Because again, it's like all the boys, they want it, right? Like that's what it is. But it's like you flip the fucking roles. And now it's a vile fucking act. Like, how dare that man try to have sex with the little, right? Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's a lot of shit that I think we're teaching our kids is normal or good or thing. Like a teacher fucking a kid, that's all types of fucked up. Like regardless of what genders anybody is.
Those power dynamics is something they should talk about in sex ed. Like
Yes.
Why is that a level of education we only get like during sexual harassment training for work? Shit,
sucks.
Dude. Do retail? I've never worked a retail job. Do retail jobs do sexual harassment training and things?
They're starting to do it now. But they didn't before.
I was gonna say I felt like that wasn't a thing because the amount of like women friends that I had that had various levels of sexual harassment and sexual misconduct and whatnot working retail jobs and like service industry jobs was crazy. Like there was no lineation between like the manager taking advantage of these young girls that would work for them.
I had a few managers take advantage of me as a 16-year-old kid in high school.
Damn.
I had several 2 different managers at a supermarket that I worked at.
That's awful, dude.
Was it? You know what I mean? I gotta be honest. It wasn't that bad. I was able to consent in these situations, but these were older people.
I don't know, man. There's a lot of debate about what age you can actually give consent at, especially.
You're right.
Especially for males. Like I've heard that males don't mature quite as fast as women do, as young women do.
Yeah.
We got little baby brains for a long time.
But it is what it is. I did end up getting good schedules for a while.
Oh God.
What about you, Pooch? How do you? I know that you're part of like the parents that are like really working on like teaching bodily autonomy, right? Like this is your body. This is you. This is your space. You control who comes into your bubble, right? I don't know that sex ed teaches that. I don't remember ever getting that lesson in sex ed. So is that a concern that those lessons aren't reinforced by the school in any way whenever they start talking about things that are related to that kind of lesson you're teaching your kid?
Absolutely. And it's a concern across the board. Like the way that the fucking school district wants to teach math, or the way they're doing it's like everything. It's like I hope they do everything the way that I think is right or whatever, right? But I guess it's extra scary because it's like people don't end up scarred for life because they weren't taught like PEMDAS a certain way. Like, a bad sexual situation could incur a lot of trauma on your life. Like,
absolutely.
So yeah, like I would love if schools taught like bodily autonomy, and they taught what's okay, what's not okay, what is consent, what isn't consent, what like all these types of things that we go out there and we just try to figure out. Like we're just fucking feeling around in a fucking pitch black room, like, and then when someone when someone says, "Oh, you crossed my boundary," it's like, "Oh shit, I didn't even know there were boundaries." Like you know what I mean? And I feel like a lot of the situations that occur are not like malicious. And of course, of course, some people have that moment where they realize like, like, oh, they never said no, and now they're taking advantage of a situation, and that's fucked up. But it's like, again, if there's no clear lines drawn, or we haven't, as a society, decided this is okay, this isn't okay, or whatever, it's like there's always going to be like these blurry lines where people are going to get away with things. People don't know that they're crossing a line. Like, I don't know. Of course, I wish that schools taught more of that type of stuff. And it's even something that I struggle with. Sometimes I walk up to my kid and I'm like, hey, give me a hug. And she'll be like, nah. And then I'll just forcefully hug her. And it's just something that like I need to stop doing, because I am there. Like I do want to teach like, nah, you said no. There's going to be circumstances where we're going to do this no matter what. Like, I'm sorry. You got to put on clothes because we got to go to school. Like, there's an extent, but for the things that don't matter that much, like, that'd be a good place to start, to kind of reinforce some of those teachings, I guess.
Joey, do you think that sex ed should be taught earlier? When did you get your sex ed? I want to say mine was in like 8th grade or 9th grade or something.
Middle school, like somewhere 8th grade, maybe 7th grade, 8th grade.
But then it was doing so sex ed in junior high.
It was so trash. Like I said, they just showed us STDs.
I think mine might have been high school. I think mine might have been like freshman year of high school or something.
We got another one in high school, but once again, it was just STDs. That's
they
all
taught sex ed in the health class.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And it was like a day. It was a day. One day of sex ed stuff.
It's so stupid. It's so fucking stupid to act like it's like build a character, but then like the most essential parts, we're just gonna like avoid those. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's weird. I don't know. I think if even going as wildly as this, if we start to teach sex in a way to people where sex is more widely accepted and we're not calling teenagers whores for having sex, I think that shit is like stupid as fuck. All these young people having sex, that's all young people want to do. Man. They're horny. We're humping things. We're like, oh, that fuck's like, we're putting our cocks in things we shouldn't put our cocks in. That's all we want to do. So like, if that's all we want to do, and it's not the worst thing in the world, I think teaching people how to have sex and promoting, whether it's male contraceptives or female contraceptives,
sorry,
getting your tubes tied, whatever you got to do to, like, you know what I mean? We're not trying to have like young people having babies.
Sorry, Doy, because you touched on something very interesting. What if like in junior high, let's say like 7th grade, the faculty just passed out like a bunch of pocket pussies for all the boys, like
the best,
like just.
There is a line of like parental thought that like once your kids become like, we've talked about this on the show. We've talked about like how like that's become a thing. Like parents will give their daughter a dildo or a vibrator or something, or like it's interesting. I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing. I think it'd be fucking wild if the school did it. I think there would be so many protesting parents clutching pearls.
Unfortunately, I've known a lot of my exes. They put things inside of themselves that they shouldn't have, and stigmatizing a woman's pleasure and not stigmatizing a man, like, oh, they're supposed to jerk off, they're always jerking off. Like, luckily we have these beautiful hands that we could pressurize to our liking, but women don't have that, so they end up taking
women definitely have hands, Joey.
They have hands. What the fuck?
I've seen
yeah
them.
but still it's a little bit different, I feel like, for women, you know what I mean?
I'm missing the joke.
Yeah. All right.
What about you, Pooch? How early do you think? Because I think that it should be taught crazy early. I think it should be taught in stages. Obviously you're not teaching like an 8-year-old like this is penetration. This is an erect penis and it goes inside the pussy or something like that. But I think there's aspects of sex and sexuality you can start teaching that young. And it would start off with things like body autonomy and consent, and those would be the early conversations building up to like the sex education.
I would start earlier. I would start earlier than that. I would start at, how do you wash your penis?
Yeah.
Like how do you wash your vagina? Like it'd be nice if there was some authority that could tell you the right way to do these things. Like, you know how many little fucking kids running around with smeg all over their dickheads? Like, that's fucking disgusting. Like, clearly someone didn't teach this kid how to wash their dick. And clearly this kid doesn't know how to wash his dick. Like, it'd be nice if someone taught somebody, like, this is the way you're supposed to do this thing. Like I don't know. I feel like that just teaching about the anatomy of your body, how to clean it, how to deal with it, like...
No, some people would say wiping your ass should be very easily, and then they hand me some toilet paper.
Yeah, before Doey got the bidet, he walked around with doo-doo drawers. So,
I actually agree with you a lot, Pooch. I think that there are bare minimums that are required to participate in society. I'm actually a little controversial. I don't think that parents should be able to use religion as an excuse to get their kids out of sex education. I think that that's bullshit. I think that there is, if you want to participate in society, there are some things you have to do. And one of those things is you should be educated on sex and the risk of sex and the benefits of sex. You should have that knowledge in you. I don't think you should be able to opt out of that just because your parents want to teach you that if you have sex, you're going to hell or something. You can have that opinion and still have the knowledge of how to protect yourself if sex happens. And they're not competing things. You can choose to be a virgin if you want to. There's nothing wrong with being a virgin. There's asexual people out there. I think that's wonderful and amazing. But I think to participate in society, there's a bare minimum of skills and knowledge that you should have.
Yeah, religion gets deep. When we're talking about, it's unfortunately why things are the way they are now is because this country was a part of, like, Christianity was a big part of this country, and abstinence went with Christianity, and that's what they felt like should be taught in schools. But I think when you're talking about right now, I think there's a completely different type of category of people. I think we should be open to less Christian ideology.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think religion has any place in education. I think that they should be two very separate things. And you shouldn't be able to block education just based on your religious preference.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean,
you shouldn't be able to.
All right, like a school like encouraging your kid to go and have sex as like an example. It's like, yeah, I could totally see why in a circumstance like that, I would be like, hold up, my religion ain't about this shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're about to damn my kid to hell type of shit. You know what I'm saying? I think that's different. But like you said, learning about the religious aspects of sex versus learning about the biological and health aspects of sex are not mutually exclusive. Like, you could learn about what feels good, what doesn't feel good, how to do this, how not to do this, what gives you an STD, like what do they look like. You can learn all of this stuff and know that doing any of these things will send you to hell. Like, you know what I mean? Like those, like, again, of their own, if that's their opinion, right?
If that's your belief.
right, if that's your belief. But I'm just saying, like, you can learn all that stuff and then have your religious teachings also apply. Like, okay, now if you do all those things, you know, you're gonna go to hell, or if you gotta get married or whatever the fuck. Like, those two, I don't know. I'm with you. Those two things aren't mutually exclusive. Like,
yeah, that I think like consent and I don't know, man. Like just more education, dude. If anything they wanted to add into sex education that is not just the abstinence and here's why you shouldn't have sex and here's why you shouldn't have anal sex, especially if you're two men, because man, my school spent a long time telling us how bad and how dangerous homosexual like sexual relations were. I don't know. It needs to be revamped. I don't think it will in our lifetime, but I can hope a little bit, I guess.
Let me not even say it. I was gonna say some wild shit.
We're ending on a bummer here.
Bum is right. Pinky in the bum. Some would say.
You know what, man? Different strokes for different folks. Some people like things, and we should appreciate that, and you should communicate that to your partner if that's what you like.
I didn't know until it happened.
As you guys know, my ass is way too sensitive. I can't take nothing up my ass. I can't even sit on a goddamn fucking bike seat for 20 minutes. My ass is destructed. All right. Could you imagine someone trying to go to town on me? It'd be horrible. I'd be hospitalized. Like, it'd be a mayhem.
That's fair. That is absolutely fair. That is your boundary, and we respect you setting that.
Thank you.
Any closing thoughts here? I think we're about ready to wrap up on this one. We covered a lot of ground here. You gotta lick
it before you stick it, folks.
Be very, very open with your feelings. Be very transparent all the way, and I think you'll be okay. As long as you're being transparent, you're being open, I think you'll have a lot easier of a time. Plus, you'll get the bad part out of the way. I know rejection sucks, but why waste your time talking to somebody who doesn't want to talk to you? Why waste your time trying to fuck somebody who doesn't want to fuck you? Just move on to the next person at that. Like, you're making it easier on yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like all those guys who get caught up in the friend zone. They get friend zoned for a whole year. There's a whole year of worth of women or men, whoever you are, of people you could have been talking to this whole time, trying to figure sex out, figure relationships out, all that type of shit. But you're wasting your time with somebody who ain't interested. Like,
that is a good future discussion, whether the friend zone exists or not. We're going to tease you with that.
Whether you can break out of it or not, you can definitely break out of the friend zone.
I think the friend zone might be an entirely self-constructed concept.
All right.
But that's a future discussion here. As Doey said, we are three men with hearts full of love, and we just want everyone to share that love and communication and openness with each other. Our friend Crystal is building an amazing community. We're trying to do the same. We like to discuss things. We like to pick each other's brains a little bit. We appreciate you coming into the episode. We appreciate you tuning in. We appreciate those of you that have made it this far, because I know that our retention sometimes drops off at about 10 minutes or so based on analytics. But we're going to keep doing what we do. We love doing this for you. We appreciate you. Leave those comments. Hit that subscribe button, ring that bell. We're bringing as much content as we can to you. We are literally wringing ourselves to dry every week to try and bring you the best content we can.
Yeah.
We love you. Take care of yourself. Go one up yourself. Peace.
Good night.
Peace. I want to make fuck with you.
I want to make fuck.